everybody, back at Insurasales 2023 here in Dallas, Texas. A very warm Dallas, Texas, I might add. Now
very warm.
A little over 110 degrees and rising. It's been hot. And I must say, though, it's been a wonderful 8% Nation so far. And we're here with Arturo Johnson from Arturo Johnson Consulting, who, by the way, was just amazing on center stage here, making his presentation to all of the folks that made it here to 8%. Arturo, thanks for first of all being here, number one. And number two, help everybody understand what you think of 8% Nation.
Well, thank you for having me, first of all, and thanks for the kind words about my presentation. I always want to try to give some value. So the number one thing I can say about 8% is life-changing, right? And the reason why is because this has been a big dream of mine, to come to be around like-minded people and to be in a community of people that are just looking to get better. And that's life-changing because I've noticed a lot of the people here, if somebody said you should do this and they're like, oh, that probably wouldn't work, people are like, no, don't say that, don't limit yourself. You know, Henry Ford says whether you think you can or not, you're right. And the atmosphere of people that are around here are like, don't put limitations on yourself. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. And so that's been life-changing for me because, you know, they say life and death is in the power of the tongue. And so the things that you say turn into the thoughts that you are, and then you start to believe those things, and then your beliefs turn into actions, and then that's ultimately who you become. So you have to watch what you say, because then you start to think it, and then you start to do it.
Arturo was part of and has been part of a star-studded group of really social media experts. We have wonderful heroes in the insurance industry. We have people from all walks of life that have come here to 8% Nation. And I mean, and with all the people in attendance, and you see their faces and everybody's writing down notes and everybody's trying to get better.
Yes.
I think that's the one thing I've noticed about this conference. Now I've seen it now for the second year, and I'm learning every time. And when I see folks like you, and I'm like, geez, I've been in it 28 years, and I don't know that, and I want to take notes from you. So,
yeah.
So that's the one thing I can see, is that people that have had success maybe, but want more success,
yeah.
or people that maybe are struggling a little bit, that need to get over that next level to get to the next level,
yes.
and they need somebody to help them out.
Yeah.
You know, those are things that I think people don't really understand how valuable they are. I know you do that professionally, but what you just did on center stage was amazing. And you heard it with the audience, and people were clearly excited about your message,
yes.
and what you were doing. Help people who didn't get to hear it today, maybe just give them the snippets of what you just shared live,
yes.
in front of hundreds of people, maybe thousands of people in
yes.
attendance. Help them understand the gist of what you said to get them inspired who
yes.
are watching it now.
So ultimately, the gist of everything is efficiency, right? A lot of times, as agents or as business people, like, we tend to do the same things over and over again. And so the first question is can that be automated? Can it be delegated or eliminated? And the process that I did was I took things back to first principles. And first principles theory is to take a complicated thing and break it down to its most simplest parts and build it from the ground up. And we've seen this with Elon Musk, with Tesla and social media and like all of these things, is that he's just broken things back down to his first principles and got rid of the efficiency, which is what we're doing. And so how does that play into life insurance and the business and what I talked about? Well, you get back to the three things that you need to do. You need to figure out who you're going to talk to. You need to get good at talking about that, right? And then you need to get somebody to take action. And so that's the process that we need to do, and all these other things that people are doing, checking emails, all those things, those aren't money generating activities. If you get good at a few things, which is focus on who you're going to talk to, figure out how to generate appointments, and ultimately get those people to see the value in what your product or service is, and help them to make a good decision to take action. That's very simple, but that's the process that we need to do. And all these other things is just a waste.
That's right. You know, Arturo, one of the things that people have asked me as I come to the conferences every year now, it's just like, am I going to learn something there, or is it just going to be a lot of motivation? And I would always say, well, I don't know. But people, when I see people writing all the time, like, I'm learning. Like, I'm writing things down, and I'm seeing it, and I'm realizing, like what you just said about efficiency, you're like, I'm pretty good at what I do, but I am completely inefficient,
yes.
right? And they need to be reminded of it. Then it's like, oh, there's somebody that's an expert at that wants to help me, take my agency. Not, I'm just going to give you the information and say, hey, figure it out on your own.
Right.
Like, you have the ability with the people here that are walking all around us that have the ability to say, look, will you help me? And they go, freely, I'll be happy to help you. What do you need to know, right? And you want to give of your time and your talents.
Yes.
And that's what I think what makes this industry really click. If you were starting as a brand new agent, and you work with those as your clients, if you're a brand new agent, what are the things that you would tell them that they need to do, like right now? They just got started in the business. What would they need to do to be successful?
And I'm glad you asked me that question. So the number one thing that new agents need to understand is that information alone isn't going to be the key to their success. As a new agent, right, we think we need to know all the carriers and we need to know everything about the insurance and like all of that. You need a little bit of information to get to be dangerous, but the way you're actually going to learn this business is by the activity and doing it. You see, you can read about how to ride a bike as much as you want, but until you get on the bike and you fall down and scrape your knee, which we've all done, until you do that, you're never going to learn how to ride a bike. And so the only way for you to get better is by practice, right? And practice leads to mastery. So what is mastery? Mastery is to effortlessly execute without the use of conscious resources. And the only way to achieve mastery is to practice. So if you want to get good at something, do it a lot.
Right. You know, you say that, and I just remember many years ago, living in Central Florida, Larry Bird, the basketball player, was near the end of his career, and I went to a game, and 2 hours before the game, I somehow found my way into the Orlando Arena to watch the game, and Larry was on one side of the court, and Kevin McHale, another Hall of Fame basketball player for the Celtics, is on the other side of the court, and Larry was shooting free throws and shooting three-point shots, and I don't think he missed like for 66 in a row. I stopped counting. It was one of the most amazing things I ever saw, and I thought, these are Hall of Famers, and they're still working at their craft really late in their careers and hours before a regular game. And to your point, to become great at something, you've got to master it.
Yes.
And that doesn't happen by hoping for it or wishing for it or doing it once.
Yes,
am I right?
For sure.
And I think, you know, one of the things in our business here that I continue to learn is folks like you, Arturo, that are experts at what you do are wonderful in the sense that you not only give us the message, but you give us a plan.
Yes.
And that's the one thing. Sometimes in these conferences that I've gone to with other industries, they'll give you a lot of motivation, but they won't give you the ways to get there.
Yeah.
They won't give you the blueprint, right, for your success. For somebody that's out there, maybe doing well in life, maybe partially doing well, or maybe people that are struggling, if you could give them just some words of wisdom to set them on their own blueprint from today going forward, what would it be?
Man, you have some phenomenal questions, and these are things that I've thought about a lot, so it's just kind of, it's resonating with me. And I heard Tony Robbins say, if you want to model success, find somebody that's doing what you want to do and model them. You see, success leaves clues, and so what you need to do is you need to find somebody who started where you are and has achieved the things that you want to achieve, and you need to get next to them. Mentorship, coaching, becoming a student of those things, serving first maybe, because if you do that, that can accelerate the learning curve, and what happens is you don't have to make the same mistakes that they did, and you can compress decades into days. So that's the thing that I would say.
I love that. I just made a mental note. Compress decades into days, right?
Yeah.
Being around people that are focused, that are driven, that have a plan, they want to work that plan. You know, one thing I learned early in my career, someone said, Steve, you know, you have to have a purpose, you have to have a process, and you have to have a plan. And I'm like, that sounds really complicated. And he goes, it's not complicated if you just do it and follow it. He goes, the reason the Marine Corps, the reason why they're successful is they have a system, and they go by that system, and they work that system, and everybody goes through it. You know, one of the great things about what you shared with us, Arturo, today is that efficiency and learning how to be efficient in everything you do in your life is critical.
Yeah.
And you've been able to do it at an extremely high level. And for those folks here who are hearing you and say, I want to talk to Arturo. And this guy, addictive smile, big personality, and super intelligent, I can tell you that. Look at the camera, if you will, Arturo, and if people want to reach you and they want to find out how to get better in their life, you can help them. You know you can.
Yeah.
Please help you. Please help them by sharing with them how they can reach you and how they can take the next step with you.
Awesome. So if you're out there and you're watching this and you're not where you want to be, and you know that you've got another level to go, and you're looking for some consistency and predictability, but more importantly, you're just looking for a solid foundation of answers that somebody can just show you exactly what you need to be and lay out a blueprint for you to be successful, you can reach out to www.arturojohnsonconsulting.com. There's tons of resources for you. I have over 30 hours of free content for people that are just looking for some answers in the roadmap that aren't like starting at a high level, that just want some resources. You can go there, download those, and check it out. Keep your head up and keep going, keep fighting. One
of the most inspiring personalities in all of the life and health, really all of the insurance industry, Arturo Johnson. Arturo, thanks so much for being with us here at Insurasales, and thanks for what you do for all of us here, not only for 8% Nation, but for all of us in the industry. Thanks so much for your time.
Yes,
right?
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Arturo.
My pleasure.
All right, man.